What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best NBA player props on PrizePicks today. Now don't forget to like this video as it does let me know to continue to give you free picks every day, so make sure to like this video clicking that button down below, and if we get 450 likes I will do another video for tomorrow. Now I did also want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see we actually got 20 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get 20 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, which will be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $540 just yesterday, and another member who won $275 for the 6th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description, so go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to Trash Panda 53 who said great job, let's go, and also shouts out to Christian Karoma 5570 who said let's get it. So shouts out to them, and if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but PrizePicks is delayed with some of their lines, so here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Deni Avdija, and this one is for 7.5 rebounds, and this one actually is for less. Now looking at Deni, we actually have seen him go in the under in 3 out of the last 5 games. Now looking at those 5 games, we see on November 1st faced off against Denver, had 4 rebounds there. November 4th faced off against the LA Lakers, had 6 rebounds, then 10 rebounds against Oklahoma City Thunder on November 6th, and then 11 rebounds against Miami on November 9th. Then November 11th faced off against Orlando and had 5 rebounds there. So we have seen, Deni actually go on the under quite consistently, going on the under in 3 out of the last 5, but we also do know when it comes to Deni and the actual Portland Trailblazers, they do have themselves a very good matchup against none other than the New Orleans Pelicans. So it is definitely going to be an exciting game between both of these teams, but looking at where both these teams do lie, starting off with actually the Portland Trailblazers, we do actually see that the Portland Trailblazers do come in at the actual 8th spot in the Western Conference. They have a record of 5 wins and 5 losses, and on top of that, they are also having a 50% win percentage, 3-2 from home, 2-3 from away, and are currently on a 2-game losing streak. So very interesting to see there. Now, when we look at this matchup more in depth, we also do see that when it comes to their matchup, New Orleans Pelicans have definitely struggled, and they find themselves in the actual 15th spot in the Western Conference, so last, and they actually have a record of 2 wins and 8 losses, so 20% win percentage. On top of that, we also do know 1-2 from home, 1-6 from away, so it's definitely been very interesting to see. So both teams definitely in a bit of a, I would say, on the lower side of the Western Conference, but Portland is still definitely in playoff picture, which I think is great. But we are also seeing that when it comes to the New Orleans Pelicans, when it actually comes to rebounds allowed, we do see that the Pelicans rank 25th. So they rank pretty low. However, the reason why we still do like the under for this situation here is because when we actually look at, Deni, who does play that forward position, we do actually see that New Orleans Pelicans do a fantastic job at restricting rebounds to the forward position. So we definitely see someone like Deni Avdija actually going on the under here due to that reason. We are expecting a lot of there to be, defensive pressure on someone like Deni, especially at that forward position when it comes to rebounds, as Pelicans do have some big rebounders on their team. So for that reason, we definitely do very much like the under for this situation here. When we look at Deni over the last 5 games, you see that his average over the last 5 is also 7.2. And also looking at actually what the bookies are saying, bookies also have him favored for the under as well, so that works out in our favor there. So overall, and all in all, we definitely do very much like the under for this situation here for someone like Deni Avdija coming into this matchup. So Deni Avdija, 7.5 rebounds for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about none other than Jeremiah Fears. So, Jeremiah Fears, great player. This one is for 3.5 rebounds, and this one also is for less. So, this is the same matchup, but from the other side, and also a similar pick being rebounds. But looking at this one, he has gone on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 5 games, you see on November 3rd, faced off against Oklahoma City Thunder. Actually had 4 rebounds there. Then November 5th faced off against Charlotte, had 3 rebounds in that matchup. November 6th faced off against Dallas, had 5 rebounds. Then November 9th faced off against San Antonio Spurs, had 3 rebounds there. 2 rebounds against Phoenix on November 11th. So we have seen Jeremiah actually go on the under in 3 out of the last 5. But most importantly, we do know that New Orleans Pelicans face off against none other than the Portland Trail Blazers, which we have just touched on. So we just did touch on it, but just quickly remind you again, Trail Blazers rank 8th with a record of 5 wins and 5 losses. And they face off against the New Orleans Pelicans, who do have a worser record, unfortunately, or more worse record of 2 wins and 8 losses, which puts them at the 15th spot in the Western Conference. Now, they are on the 2-game losing streak as well. So are the Trailblazers. So one of these teams coming out of this game will actually snap their losing streak. Now, looking at Portland Trailblazers and where they do rank defensively when it comes to rebounds, we do actually see that the Portland Trail Blazers rank 16th when it comes to rebounds allowed. So they actually rank pretty decently. You know, a lot of people may have been surprised that they do rank, you know, in that mid tier, I would say. But we definitely see that being enough to go on the under, especially for someone like Jeremiah Fears, who doesn't have the highest usage rate in the rebounding department. When it comes to Jeremiah, he isn't really a big rebounder for this team. He tends to get rebounds off, you know, certain situations, and we aren't really expecting him to hunt for rebounds as much as the next person in this Pelicans team. So that's why coming into this matchup, we do very much like the under for this one. When we look at the matchup between them and Portland, we also do know that Portland do a fantastic job at actually restricting, you know, rebounds to the guard position. So we definitely see that having a huge effect there as well. So for that reason, I definitely would keep an eye out for someone like Jeremiah Fears coming into this game, as we see a lot of value there for him to actually go on the under. Now, when we also look at the matchup between both of these teams and look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have them favored for the under as well, so that works out in our favor there. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for the under for someone like Jeremiah Fears. The Jeremiah Fears 3.5 rebounds for less, I think, is a fantastic pick. So getting into the next pick, we're going to be talking about none other than Victor Wembanyama, and this one is a fantastic one for actually rebounds and assists. So a combo one for 15.5, and this one actually is for less. Now looking at Victor Wembanyama, we actually have seen him go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games. Now looking at those 5 games, you see on November 3rd, faced off against Phoenix, had 11 rebounds and assists there. November 6th, faced off against LA Lakers, had 11 rebounds and assists there. November 8th, faced off against Houston, had 12 rebounds and assists, then 21 rebounds and assists against New Orleans Pelicans on November 9th, and November 11th faced off against Chicago and had 17 rebounds and assists there. So it's definitely been interesting to see, you know, looking at someone like Victor Wembanyama, we have definitely seen him go on the under quite consistently, going on the under in 3 out of the last 5, and his average over the last 5 is also 14.4, which is interesting to see. Now, coming into this one, we do also know that Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs face off against none other than the Golden State Warriors. Now, it is definitely going to be an exciting game for sure, but looking at where both of these teams do lie, starting off with actually none other than the San Antonio Spurs, we have seen Spurs come in at a very good position, as they actually come in at the 2nd spot in the Western Conference. So they've actually done a fantastic job there. Now they face off and against a Warriors team, but you know, finishing off with Spurs, they have an 8-2 record, 8 wins, 2 losses, and 80% win percentage. But on top of that, they are also 5-0 from home and 3-2 from away. So it's definitely been pretty interesting to see. You know, looking at that, we actually have seen that Spurs have actually done a great job at, you know, really getting their wins under their belt. And they face off against a Golden State Warriors team that has struggled just quite a bit. because Warriors were actually looking very, very good early on in the season, but they actually have fallen to the 9th spot in the actual Western Conference. Now, they have a record of 6 wins and 6 losses, a 50% win percentage. They are also 5-0 from home, 1-6 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. And they face off against none other than a Spurs team that is very, very tough. Now, looking at, Golden State Warriors defensively when it comes to rebounds and assists, we do see that Golden State Warriors do rank 9th when it comes to assists allowed, and when it comes to rebounds allowed, they do rank 12th. So this one, it does surprise a lot of people, as Warriors definitely are, a little bit of a lower tier team in a sense of when you look at their rankings in the Western Conference. They've definitely struggled just a little bit, but coming into this one, we do very, very much like the under for someone like, Victor Wembanyama coming into this game, as we do see that when it comes to Golden State Warriors, they just do a fantastic job at restricting rebounds and assists. Now, there are definitely a lot of reasons to this. Now, first being that when it comes to Wembanyama, we definitely have seen his usage rate not be on the higher side as of lately. Yes, he did go on the over in the latest 2 games, but overall, we tend to actually have seen him go on the under, especially against tougher defensive teams when it comes to rebounds and assists. Now, when it comes to someone like Wembanyama, he does attract a lot of attention, so a lot of teams tend to play a lot of defenses that are, kind of focused on stopping him as much as they can, and that's definitely what has happened to him so far. Sometimes against easier matchups like Pelicans, he's been able to get away with it, but coming into this next one against a Golden State Warriors team who do a fantastic job, not only just at restricting rebounds and assists, but also honing in on focusing on other star players and restricting them as much as they can. We are definitely expecting that game plan from Golden State Warriors, and Warriors also do a fantastic job at restricting rebounds and assists to the big man position, which is what Victor Wembanyama is. So coming into this game, we do very, very much like the under for this one. We definitely see a lot of value there to go on the under, especially with the way Wembanyama has been playing, because a lot of the defensive focus has definitely been on him. Now, this Golden State Warriors team as well has definitely played a little bit more of a slower type paced basketball game, and because of that, it's definitely affected, when it actually comes to Victor Wembanyama. Because coming into this matchup, Golden State Warriors like to play slow pace, and they slow down a lot of faster paced teams, and less pace means less volume, and less volume means less opportunity. So Victor Wembanyama, 15.5 rebounds and assists for less. We do very much like this pick, and when we look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have him favored for the under as well. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but PrizePicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than OG Anunoby. So OG, great player, as we all know, for none other than the New York Knicks, and he's done a fantastic job so far this season, averaging 18.2 points, 6.2 rebounds, 2.4 assists, and is also at a 49.2% field goal percentage. Now, he's actually ranked 50th in points, 53rd in rebounds, 120th in assists, and 59th when it comes to field goal percentage. So very, very good there. Now, when we actually look at OG Anunoby and the New York Knicks, they do have themselves a very, very good matchup coming into this next game at against none other than Orlando Magic. Now, it is definitely going to be an exciting game for sure. And looking at Orlando Magic and the matchup against the New York Knicks, starting off where both of these teams do actually rank, let's start off with the Knicks. Knicks come in at the 2nd spot in the actual Eastern Conference, which is interesting to see. Now, on top of that, we also do know that they have a record of 6 wins and 3 losses. That's a 66.7% win percentage. And on top of that are 6-0 and 0-3 from home. Now, they currently have a 4-game win streak, which is interesting to see. Now, on top of that, we also do know that they face off against an Orlando Magic team who do rank 11th in the actual Eastern Conference. Now, they have a record of 5 wins and 6 losses and have a 45.5% win percentage. Now, they actually have a record as well when it comes to home and away of 3-3 at home, 2-3 away. So they currently rank 11th with a 1-game win streak as well. So both of these teams, obviously, Knicks have been on quite a tear as of recent, and Knicks are expected or were expected to be a great team so far this season. But coming into this next one, we do also know, looking at Orlando Magic and where they rank defensively, We do see, starting off with points allowed, we actually have seen Magic come in at the 14th spot when it comes to points allowed. Now they rank tied 4th when it comes to assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed, they actually rank 8th. So Orlando Magic, although a pretty poor team when it comes to, their ranking, they actually do a fantastic job at restricting rebounds and assists, and do somewhat decent when it comes to restricting points. Now coming into this next matchup, we do very, very much like the under for someone like OG Anunoby, but strictly just for the rebounds and assist category. Now OG does have a high usage rate in points, and the fact that Magic don't really rank too well in points, we are, steering and staying away from that. So I think going on the under for rebounds and assists is definitely where we see the most value for someone like OG Anunoby with this matchup against Orlando Magic. Now looking at this matchup, we also do see that OG does play the forward position, and Orlando do a great job at restricting rebounds and assists to that position as well. So it definitely works out in our favor there. Now looking at Anunoby's actually last 5 games, we see actually on the 1st of this month faced off against Chicago, had a 135-125 loss with 26 points, 3 assists, and 4 rebounds there. After that, on the 3rd, faced off against Chicago, again had a 128-116 win with actually 21 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds. Then on the 4th, faced off against Washington and had a 119-102 win with 16 points, 2 assists, 6 rebounds there. Then I had on the 6th, had against Minnesota, 137-114 win with 25 points, 1 assist, 8 rebounds, and then 19 points, 3 assists, 8 rebounds against Brooklyn Nets on a 134-98 win. So that was also on the 10th. So we actually have seen that when it comes to OG Anunoby, we definitely are expecting the under for this situation for rebounds and assists. He also does have a slightly lower usage rate in those 2 departments compared to, points, which is why we are definitely sticking to the under for it. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for the under for someone like OG. But as I mentioned, strictly just for rebounds and assists is where we see the most value. Now getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about none other than actually Stephon Castle. So Stephon Castle, great player, as we all know. And when we actually look at Stephon Castle, we do know that he actually has averaged 18.5 points, 5.7 rebounds, 7.7 assists, and is also at a 48.8% field goal percentage. So he's definitely done a fantastic job there. Now when we actually look at this, we do know that he ranks 48th in points, 65th when it comes to rebounds, 9th when it comes to assists, and then 65th when it comes to field goal percentage. So very, very interesting to see there. Now, when we look at San Antonio Spurs, they have themselves a really good matchup against none other than actually the Golden State Warriors. So it is going to be an exciting game between both of these teams. Now, looking at where both these teams do lie, starting off with actually the Golden State Warriors. Warriors actually rank 7th in the Western Conference. They have a record of 6 wins and 5 losses, a 54.5% win percentage, and also 5-0 at home, 1-5 from away. Now looking at this matchup, starting off with the Golden State Warriors. Warriors come in at the 7th spot in the Western Conference, and they actually have a record of 6 wins, 5 losses, a 54.5% win percentage, and also 5-0 from home, 1-5 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So very, very interesting to see there. Now they face off against the Spurs, as we all know, and Spurs come in at the 2nd spot in the Western Conference, and they have a record of 8 wins and 2 losses. So that's an 80% win percentage there. They're also 5-0 from home, 3-2 from away, and are currently on a 3-game win streak. So Spurs have had the hot hand as of lately, and when it comes to this matchup, we are definitely expecting, a really intense and great game out of both of these teams. But looking at the Golden State Warriors and where they do rank defensively, we do also see that they rank when it comes to points allowed. Surprisingly, they actually rank 9th. And then on top of that, when it comes to assists allowed, we see that they rank 9th as well. Rebounds allowed, the Golden State Warriors rank 12th. So they rank pretty decent, in all 3 categories. Top 10 in points and assists, a little bit lower in rebounds, but definitely still in the higher tier, I would say. And that's why coming into this matchup, we do very much like the under for this situation here. When it comes to someone like Castle, he is a great player, do not get me wrong, but Warriors like to play very, very slow pace when it comes to, stopping faster paced teams, because we have seen a little bit of a different sort of play style from the Golden State Warriors as of recent. They do still like to play fast, do not get me wrong. However, compared to Spurs actually play a little bit faster, and we have seen time and time again that Warriors actually slow down faster paced teams. And that's what's led them to be in a position where they rank, top 10 in points and assists, a little bit lower in rebounds, but definitely still in the top 15. So they are a very, very great defensive team. It just hasn't translated to wins as they thought it would. Now, coming into this one, we do also know that, Golden State Warriors also do a fantastic job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to Stephon Castle's position. So it definitely helps the, argument for this pick there. Now, looking at Castle over the last 5 games, we saw on the 3rd of this month, faced off against Phoenix, had a 130-118 loss with 26 points, 5 assists, 7 rebounds there. On the 6th, faced off against LA Lakers, had a 118-116 loss with 16 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds. Then on the 8th, faced off against Houston, had a 121-110 win with 14 points, 13 assists, and 6 rebounds. Then on the 9th, faced off against New Orleans Pelicans, had a 126-119 win with 16 points, 13 assists, and 4 rebounds. Then 19 points, 11 assists, 5 rebounds with a 121-117 win there against Chicago. So definitely been very, very good for Castle and the Spurs team. However, as we always know, matchups, that's what's most important. And with this matchup here, we definitely are expecting, the under for someone like Stephon Castle coming into this game. So definitely keep an eye out for Stephon. I see a lot of value there to go on the under, especially if the line is too close to his averages. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Dillon Brooks. So Dillon Brooks, great player. As we all know, we do know that he has done a great job for this, Suns team, and he has actually averaged 18.4 points, 3.4 rebounds, 2 assists, and a 38.5% field goal percentage. So Dillon Brooks has actually done a fantastic job. He has surprised a lot of people as he has been scoring very, very well for this Phoenix Suns team. And when we look at the Phoenix Suns, they have themselves a matchup against the Dallas Mavericks. Now, it is definitely going to be an exciting game for sure, but looking at actually both of these teams, starting off with the Suns come in at the 8th spot in the Western Conference. They have a record of 6 wins and 5 losses, a 54.5% win percentage. They're also 5-1 at home, 1-4 from away, and are currently on a 3-game win streak. And they face off against none other than the Dallas Mavericks. Now, Dallas Mavericks rank 14th. They have a record of 3 wins and 8 losses. That's a 27.3% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 2-5 from home, 1-2 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So definitely really, really interesting to see there. They definitely have struggled just a little bit. But coming into this matchup, we do also know when it comes to Dillon Brooks and the matchup against, Dallas Mavericks. Now, when we look at Dallas Mavericks and where they do rank, starting off with points allowed, they do actually rank 8th. So they're actually tied 8th with a couple of other teams. When it comes to assists allowed, we also do see that the Mavericks do rank, in that sort of same category because they actually rank 2nd. And then rebounds allowed, we also do see that Dallas Mavericks do rank a little bit lower, or very much lower, as they rank 27th. So they surprisingly rank very high in points and assists, however, a little bit lower in rebounds. So when it comes to Dillon Brooks, we do very much like the under for this situation for someone like him, but strictly just for the points and assists category. Now, this may surprise a lot of people and why Dallas do actually rank high in both of those categories. A big reason being is that when we actually look at Dallas, they do like to play a slower pace type basketball, and it does lead to less opportunities to score, to play make, and all these different things. So that's why coming into this next one, we are definitely expecting the under for someone like Dillon Brooks. Now, when it comes to Dillon Brooks' position, although Dallas have been, losing games, they actually still are a great defensive team, as they have a lot of defensive juggernauts in their team. And Dillon Brooks being a forward, Mavericks actually have a lot of great players that restrict points, restrict rebounds, rebounds, and also assists to his position as well. Now, I would definitely focus a little bit more on points and assists, however, due to the fact that Dallas just overall just ranked better in those two categories. But, you know, either one or all kind of categories definitely have an opportunity for Dillon to go on the under. Now, looking at Dillon Brooks over the last 5 games, we saw on the 23rd, faced off against Sacramento, had a 120-116 win with 22 points, 3 assists, 4 rebounds there. On the 25th, faced off against the LA Clippers, had a 129-102 loss with 21 points, 2 assists, 3 rebounds there. On the 26th, faced off against Denver, had a 133-111 loss with actually 15 points, 2 assists, 3 rebounds. Then on the 16 points, 3 assists, 2 rebounds against a 114-103 win against LA Clippers. Then after that, New Orleans Pelicans 121-98 win with 18 points, 0 assists, and 5 rebounds there. So it's definitely been very, very interesting for Dillon Brooks. We have seen him do a fantastic job, no doubt about it. But coming into this next one against a Dallas Mavericks team that do a great job at points and assists, unfortunately, we definitely see him going on the under here.